Hi grade 8s, welcome back to your second week of Band Lab. This week we're going to be creating an intro that lasts 16 bars long, but before we can do it, we need to first know what the process is for music production. So I want you to remember three things. We have arranging, assessing, and exporting. So arranging is what we did last week, where we grab all our different tracks, all our different instruments, and we put them in our DAW. And we have them all set up. We've arranged them, we've labeled them, it's easy to control them and easy to organize them. Next thing is assessing. Assessing is where you listen to all the things that are within your DAW. Remember, DAW is not like an opening or closing door. It is a digital audio workstation. So you have all your tracks in your DAW and you're removing small bits, you're cutting out small bits, you're copying and pasting small bits to put them in different places. That is called assessing. You're assessing and you're changing things. Now, within assessing, whenever you remove something and put it somewhere else, we call that carving. You're carving out your different tracks. Think of it like a sculptor. Whether you're a stone sculptor or whether you're a wood sculptor, whether a carpenter or a stonemason, you have a solid chunk. You have a solid raw material. So if you're a stonemason, you have a solid stone and you're slowly cutting away on the different bits of stone so it can become more like something that we know. If you want to make a human face, if you want to make an animal, you're slowly just chipping away. So you're carving out. Same thing as a carpenter. They start with a full-on wood stump and they slowly carve out to make it into a table, to make it into a mug, to make it into someone's face. There's a huge bunch of things you can do with it, but there's no limitation. It just depends on how you carve it. So the same thing applies to music production. You're gonna have all your solid raw materials, which you've arranged, and as you're assessing, you're carving it out, and that really depends on you. The third word is exporting, but we're not going to focus too much on that. That's when you have your finished product and you're now turning it to an MP3 or something that people can listen to. So within assessing, one thing you need to realize, it doesn't just move linearly. It doesn't just go, okay, assessing next. No, assessing is you carve out, you listen. If you're not happy with it, you go back. It's always just a looping thing. So whenever you're assessing, you're always going back and forward. That's the longest part of the process of music production. So spend some time there, carve out well, be creative, there's no limitations, and I'm looking forward to see what you come up with. See you in the lab. All right, welcome grade 8 back to Band Lab. So make sure you have a good pair of headphones and that you've opened edu.bandlab.com on Google Chrome. Remember, it won't work on any other browser. Once you're in, click onto your folder at the top with a musical icon. Click Mix Editor to get into the laboratory where we're going to create some interesting formulas, some interesting concoctions. All right, let it load. Give it a second. Or 10 seconds. Click on Browse Loops, and we're in. So just like we said, the way that you want to go about producing your music is you want to think of it in 3 stages. Well, it's technically, about 3 stages, but there's 4, but for now, let's work with 3. First of all, you arrange. The second one, you assess. And the third one, you export. Exporting we're not going to touch on it too much, because all it is now saying, I have my finished product. Let me turn it into something that people can listen to online, or they can listen to on their phones or on their iPods, whatever it is. It's just turning it into an MP3 file or WAV file. So today we're going to focus on arranging and assessing. We're going to take our block of wood, we're going to carve it out, and we're going to make something good out of it. And I will explain more as we go along. But the point of today's lesson is to have a change of energy after every 4 bars, just to keep the music interesting. So click on packs, choose the one you want. Remember, choose a genre pack, not an instrumental pack, because genre packs have a lot more sounds and it'll make it a bit more interesting and less limiting. So pick any genre you want. Drill is a genre. Zulu porridge, ultra bounce. Funk drums would be an instrumental genre because drums are just an instrument. Let me go with Don't Stop Disco. I like some disco. But choose any you like. Just make sure it's a genre pack. So the way we're going to organize our tracks are, we're going to start with our foundation, which is our beat. Then we're going to go to our bass. Then we're going to take it to our middle section, which is our synths. And we're going to take it to our next section, is our melody or our lead. We're going to add an extra track today called FX. And FX is just a slang way of saying effects. but it's just FX. So you just see FX, just say effect. And we're going to use that at one point in time, and I'll show you how it works. So first of all, start with your beat. Now, beats, remember, they do not have a key. So that's why when I go here, one thing to note, beats can come in many different names. Beats, drums, or percussion, any of those. Or even just, if they want to be more specific, you can have the kick, you can have the hi-hat, you can have the crash, the ride. Those are all part of the drums, even the toms. But for now, we're going to go with drums because that's what's in my pack. So here, notice it doesn't have a key. It only has the BPM. So I'm going to listen to them, and then I'm going to see which one I like. All right, that's cool. That's also cool. I think I'll go with, let me go with number 2. So click on it, drag it. Now make sure you drag it all the way to the beginning. Don't let it stay here. Some of you did a really good job, but then you let it stay somewhere in between. Now, one thing, this is a very important thing, just to make sure that it's very tight and it's very precise and you cut it really well. Make sure you have it snapping to this grid. So you see these lines, those are a grid. Those are grid lines or our beats. So this is our beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, next bar. And these numbers show our bars, okay? And there are 4 beats in every bar. Simple stuff, you already know that. Now, if I drag this, notice how it snaps into every beat, right? That's snapping. It's snapping. Snapping right there. Let's see that again. Boom, snaps. It snaps. It doesn't get stuck in the middle. Now, if I was to switch off that snapping to grid, it would make my work a bit messy, actually quite messy, and things wouldn't fit well together. So let's see the shortcut. Toggle snap to grid. Toggle means to activate. So if I want to activate my snap to grid, I will press G. If I want to disable my snap to grid, I'll press this. So in MacBooks, this is command, but in Windows, this is control. So let me disable by pressing command. Now notice this. Now it's not snapping, it's just dragging between. Let me zoom in, just so you can see. That's command and right arrow to zoom in. No, let's see. It's not snapping, it's just flowing. Whereas let me press G to activate my snap to grid. Let's see how it changes. All right, there it's snapping. Snapping, snapping. It's just snapping really well. And that's what you want. You want it to have that snap. If it doesn't have that snap, it'll become a bit wonky because it'll be everywhere. So make sure you have snap to grid activated. And that's super simple. Just press G. All right, let me zoom out by pressing command left. All right, so now let me drag this to the beginning and let's get started. So I have my drums. Now, whatever BPM was on your drums, which was over here, 120, it automatically gets inputted over here at the top of your DAW on the digital audio workstation. Now, let's add in our next layer, which is our bass. Now, this is where the key starts to come in because bass has a bit of a harmony. That's why it has musical notes. That's why it has a key. So here we have C minor and we have F minor. So I'm going to go for some F minor basses. Let me hear how they sound. Some bass. Oh, that's C minor. Let me see them in F minor. That's cool. That's cool. I think I'm gonna go with number 9. Drag it in. See what happens. Let it load. Don't just leave it there. Drag it to the left. Make sure it always clicks on that first bar, otherwise it'll be wonky and be messy. Alright, that's fine. Fine with that. Alright, so now let's go to our next station. Let's add our middle section, which is our keys, which is a short form for keyboard. I think that I pass it. So drums, effects, keys. All right, let's see how these sound. One thing to note, whenever you put in something that has musical notes, the key also gets inputted right here. So that's when you add in a bass or key or guitar or anything that has actual musical notes. So I have to make sure whatever I pick here in my pack has to be in F minor. Otherwise, it will sound really, really weird. So let's hear this. These ones are in F minor. All right, that sounds cool. But because my bass sounds very electronic, I'm gonna go for more electronic sounds. This sounds a bit too natural. Let's see this one. That would work. That sounds more like a melody. Let me hear this one again. Let me go with number 8. That sounds really well. Drag it to the left. Make sure it clicks. Hear it from the beginning. Now, let's go to the next part. Let's put in some melody. So here, melodies and lead are just the same word. It just means a single melody line. So let's see how this sounds. Oh, these are in C minor. Don't let that catch you. Let's hear one in F minor. That would work. That sounds really good. That's in C minor. Let me focus on F minor. Let me put this one. All right, notice how it's shorter. So what do? I can extend it or I can copy and paste it. So make it snap to the grid. All right. Once you have all your 4 layers, you have your drums or your beats acting as the basis of what you're making, of the song you're making. You have your bass putting in some musical notes and giving it a bit of a bump. So think of it like the drums gives it a drive, the bass gives it a thump, the keys bring in some of the juiciness, some of what we like to chew on. So that's some of your juice right there, and that can really hold someone in. And your lead is more of the sauce, the nice sauce on top, whether it's like a spray of ketchup, a spray of mustard, a spray of mayo. Some of you like sriracha, whatever. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom out. How do we zoom out? Press Control or Command and press your left arrow. And notice here, right here, it's going all the way till the 8th bar. So let me zoom out, let's see what happens. Now I'm going to the 11th bar. Let me zoom out again, pressing Control left. Now I can see up to my 18th bar. So what I want to do is I want to drag all of these out until they reach 16 bars. So let's do that. So you click it, don't worry about that. Make sure this circle thing appears. Drag it out until the 16th bar. So this is where the 16th bar starts, so make sure you put it where the bar ends. So bar 16 starts at bar 16 and ends just before bar 17 starts. So don't let that catch you. Don't drag it until here. Otherwise, you'd have only made it 15 bars because 15 bars ends at bar 16. So put it till there. Because now bar 17 hasn't started, but bar 16 has finished. Same thing. Do it for all your tracks. Super simple. Extend them. Remember, if you want to zoom out, Control Z. If you want to zoom, Control left. If you want to zoom in, Control right. And let's put that there. Let it load. All right, there we go. Let it snap. If it doesn't snap, then there's something wrong. Now, before we continue, make sure you label your different tracks just to keep it nice and organized. So here's my beats. Oh, that's actually better. Cold drums. Here is my bass. Instead of all these long names, Don't Stop Disco Keys number 8. Let me call this my keys. Then here is my lead / melody. All right, so now it's 16 bars long. Let's hear it from the beginning. All right, so just remember, don't let this confuse you. This 17 is showing where the 17th bar starts. So that means the 17th bar hasn't started because we finished just before it starts, okay? So that's bar 16. If you want to see a bit more detail, let me see if I can zoom in so it doesn't confuse you. Let's see if I zoom in some more. Control right. So here's my 16th bar. It's now showing, and it's going all the way up until here before the 17th bar starts. So make sure that doesn't confuse you. Zooming out, Control left. All right, so now with that, that's a bit too far. Let me zoom out a bit more. Now I want to have a change of beat after every 4 bars. So what I'm gonna do is, this is a new command you're gonna learn, and I want you to memorize it. It'll be extremely useful. It's called slicing. So what I'm going to do is I drag my playhead to wherever I want to slice. So here would be after 4 bars. Just so it doesn't confuse you, let me zoom in. There's my 4th bar. You can see it more clearly, and it's right here. So I'm going to click S. And now it splits the track into 2. Let me undo that so you can see it again. So before it was, oops, if I make a mistake, just Command Z. Super, super awesome shortcut. So if I click here, it clicks the whole track. If I click here, it clicks the whole track. But let's say if I click here, my playhead is where I want to slice it. I press S. So if you want to know how to see that shortcut, click Help for shortcuts. S is for slice that region. So I click S, and now look, I can have 2 different tracks right there. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to press delete or backspace. Boom, it's gone, just like that. So right now, I don't want to cut off my drums because I want them there. So I'm going to cut off on my drums for the first 4 bars. And that's what I want you to do. Make sure you have whatever percussion instrument you chose, have it for the first 4 bars. And slice off all the other tracks for those 4 bars. So I'm going to slice here for my bass, click S, click that part, delete. Same thing here, click that track, let it come there, click S. Remember, make sure your playhead is where you want to slice it. Click delete. Click your next track, click S, click it, what you want to delete, click S. Press backspace. All right, let's hear it from the beginning. Enter, let's hear how it sounds. Then everything comes in. All right, so that's fine. Now for the next 4 bars, so that's from bar 5 to the end of bar 8, what I want to have is my bass. So that means I'm going to take my playhead, so I'm going to slice everything up until here. So my bass and now is going to be added on. It's going to be layered onto your drums. You want to think of this as if you're cooking. If let's say you needed to cook some chicken, or if I don't know if some of you guys know how to cook chicken, but this is how it would work. Let's say you need your chicken pieces. Let's say we're using chicken legs, and we have onions, tomatoes, oil, garlic, some ginger, and some spices. So the way we want it, even though we have all of those things, we don't just throw them all in the pan and hope that they get cooked. You can't just throw all your chicken legs, your spices, your oil, your onions and tomatoes into the pan at the same time and hope that it will come out well. It'll actually come out quite horrible, and people will never want to come and have you cooking again. So the way you do it is, if you want to cook it, you first put your pot on the heat, let your pot heat up. Then you add the oil, let your oil heat up. Then you add your onions, you put in your garlic and your ginger. You add in your spices, then you put in your tomatoes to make a stew. You add a bit of water, then you add in your chicken legs. And that's how to make a good meal. If you threw everything all at the same time, it would come out absolutely horrible. So that's what we're doing right now. We're having everything come in one piece at a time. We're starting with our drums to our next layer, to our bass. Then we're going to have our keys and our lead. And we want them to come in after every 4 bars. So here these will come after the 4th, come in for the first 4 bars. So let me come in over here for the next 4. On top of what's already there. We don't want to remove the drums. Oh, I just noticed I made a mistake in the typing of drums. All right, so make sure it's layered on top. Don't remove what is already there. Okay, when you put in your oil in your pan, you can't remove your oil and say, all right, let me add some onions. That would be weird. All right, so it's here where I want to slice it. Let me click S. And then, oh no, I don't want to slice that one. Let me just Command Z. Not sure what's this. All right, there we go. So I want to slice off my keys. So I'm going to click S, delete. Same thing for my lead melody. Now, if you make any mistake, don't worry about it. Just press Command Z. Super awesome shortcut. There, click, delete. Now let's see how it sounds. So let's take a quick look. Let me zoom out. So Command left or Control left. Take it from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. Next one. Alright, so right there. So now, hopefully you've gotten the hang of it. Now I want this to last for another 4 bars. So that's from bar 9 till the end of bar 12. Because you can even count with your fingers. 9, 10, 11, 12. In case it gets confusing, just use your fingers. But make sure it's 4 bars. That's what I'll be looking at. So don't lose points by not putting it for 4 bars. So I'm going to drag my playhead to where the 4th bar is, which is right here, bar 13. So it'll be really easy for some of them because most tracks actually last for just 4 bars and then they repeat and they repeat. Whereas for like this one down here, lead melody is lasting for 2 bars. So that's a quick shortcut so you can know. So I want my keys there, so I'm going to have to remove my disco lead. So I'm going to slice it, press S, click where you want to delete, press delete or backspace, boom, and it's gone. All right, so let's take it from the top. Let's hear how that sounds. So press enter. Bar 2, 3, 4, come in. So there's some nice energy right there. Next one. Into my lead. And then it takes it all the way back. So if I wanted to activate my loop, I would click here, drag this part. So let me zoom out, control left, left arrow, drag it all the way to where my playhead is. Now it's reached here. So notice how we first had our drums, we had now added our bass, we had our keys, we have our lead. So it's just one after the other, after every 4 bars. Now, since we're looping it, we want to add something to take it back to the beginning. And that's where an FX comes really handy. You can also use a crash. So crash is that high cymbal on drums, and it works really well. So, but for now, I don't think we have that. So I'm just going to look for an effect. Here we go. And notice how there's no key. It's just the tempo. Let's hear effects number 8. Is it loading? Let's hear number 3. Some of them are quite long. Let's see this. So I'll just have to shorten them out. So let me try this one. Disco effects number 6. I'm going to drag it in here. I'm going to line it up because I want it towards the end. So notice how it's, oh yes, this is perfect because it doesn't come in until the last 2 bars, and that's what I want. So let's quickly hear how it sounds. Now, one thing, if I try and play this when my loop or cycle is activated, if I press space, it'll always go back to the beginning, and that you can end up being like, oh, what's happening? I keep dragging my playhead where I want to hear it from, but every time I press space, it keeps taking me back. So all you have to do, don't get frustrated, just deactivate your loop by pressing C or clicking this looping arrow right there. I've clicked C. Now drag it to where you want it. Let me take it to the beginning of bar 13. Let's see how it sounds. Not too long, just enough right there. Now if let's say I added a different effect. So let's take a long one. Is that the one I just used? Yeah. So let me try this one. Let's see this. That one's kind of funny. Let's see this one. Let's see how this one would sound. So effects number 1, I drag it right here. Now notice how much longer the waves are. So this is, these files are called wave files, W-A-V, and it's literally because they show you the waves. So this one lasts a lot longer. So if I was to drag it here, let me drag my playhead. Let's see how it sounds. It already starts. Lead melody comes in. I don't want that. I want my lead melody to be heard for a little bit before it comes in. So let me just mute this one so you can hear this one. Use the volume of it. Alright, I would actually want, so let me put the volume back. I would want it to just last for just a short section. Right now it's too long because it's come in the way of my melody. So how would I do that? I would just shorten it out however you want. So I click on the track and then let me get rid of my playhead right here. So actually no, let me use my playhead to slice. So I'm gonna put it right here on bar 14, click, press S, now it's sliced. I want more of, let's see how it sounds with more of the ending. So let me remove this, boom, let me put this right here. So notice how we've cut and we've shifted. So let's see how that sounds now. All right. Much more fitting than putting it for the entire time. Don't let any of the tracks get in the way of something coming up. So this one, even though, so for my Don't Stop Disco effects, let me put that as my main effects. That's what I'm going to name it, because I'm going to remove this Don't Stop Disco effect. So the reason why I'm putting this here, even though it's the same length as this one, is because the waves don't start until the last 2 bars. So remember, when you're putting your effects, it's going to show a transition. So don't let it be long. Let it be nice and short and sweet so it can loop back. So all right, so let's listen to our entire track, and then I'll let you get on with this and then submit it. So I'm going to activate my loop, press C or click onto the red thing. I'm going to click C, press enter, take it all the way to the back. Let's listen to the entire track. Oh, before we listen to it, let me unmute that one and delete this effect right here. Delete track. All right, let's listen to it. Listen to how it changes in energy. That's the whole point of today's lesson. You want changes in energy. Then that's our introduction. So remember, we've learned a new key, a new shortcut. So that's S, to slice. And what we did was we had a whole block, because everything, remember, it came every single one of these tracks came from bar 1 up until the end of bar 16. And that was just think of it like a sculptor. You have a big block of wood, but now we've slowly chipped away. We chipped off every instrument apart from the drums in the beginning part, in the first 4 bars. Then we chipped off everything. My drums has gone out of spelling again. Then we chipped off everything apart from the drums and bass from the next 4 bars, right there. Then we chipped off everything apart from the keys, bass, and drums right there. And now we have a nice sounding track. And then at the end of it all, we have our effects that takes us back to the beginning. So try and put all of this together. This is now a really good introduction, and we'll be making some more of these just to help with the whole process so you can get a lot better. One thing for today, if you want to adjust volume of anything, make sure you can move this slider right here. Right now, everything, if I'm not wrong, is on 0. Yeah, +0. So that's okay. If it's too loud, just change that. And then this over here is showing pan. So if you to move it to the left, that would put this particular track more on the left side of your headphones. If you put it on the right, that would put it more on the right side of your headphones. All right, right there. But right now, we just want it in the middle. So let me try to take it to the middle. Command Z makes it a whole lot easier. Or maybe it's stuck there. All right, no, it's not. All right. So it's like you have to move in the opposite direction. All right, cool. So go ahead, have some fun with this. Save it. I'm going to call this disco stepping. All right, then I'm going to save it. And then you know how to submit it there. Leave a small comment, and I will see you in our next session. Be creative and have a lot of fun. See you then.